Another video explaining why I do not wrap my hives. With a hive tool, I can check the size of the colony all the way through the hive. I have an access hole here on the shim where I put in the sugar, chunks of sugar, and my colonies have been eating a lot of sugar this winter, so I know they're large. And I know where the colony is. If I see bees here and up, I know they're there. If I don't see any down below, I know they're not down below. But if I see bees here and here, I can also go right here, pry it open, and take my LED flashlight. I keep doing these videos over and over again, telling you people how to save your colonies during winter. LED flashlight, you take a look in there, just open it up enough to see in there. Do you see bees down below, or you see bees just up above? Okay, so in other words, if you wrap your hive, and all you can do is take the top off, the cover, and look down in there, you have no idea how big the cluster is. So I spend my winters doing this, and I have insulation board in between the hives, and I want the sunlight to hit the front of the hive on sunny days when it's warm enough that it'll warm up the hive. They come out and encourage them to do cleansing flights. Right now I have this hole plugged because it's not going to be warm enough next few days. It's going to be 7 degrees. Actually, it'll probably be colder here in a couple, 2 or 3 days. So we have a cold spell, but there is access or hole for the air to come out right there. So they are closed up a little bit. I always leave a hole down here, and I clean out the bottoms of them at least once a month, get the dead bees out. So I have insulation behind them and on the sides, but nothing on the front, and my hives are dark brown, so when the sun hits that and they come out and do cleansing flights, they can land here and warm up and give them more energy to fly around again and get back in the hive. So while I'm doing this, I'm also doing my woodworking stuff, building stuff. Let me show you that. These are my first round of deeps that I started at the beginning of the year. And I do not heat my garage. It's not insulated. It costs me a lot of money to heat my garage. So they're sitting here with the handle all cut out. And I like to go through with an air grinder, sander, and I clean them up. But right now, it's too cold to run the air compressor. My air lines would just freeze up. So they sit there and they wait until spring, till it warms up. But that gives me a start on them. And I have some more out in the shed that are currently in the middle. Yeah, I heat my shed, but I don't do any wood cutting in here with a table saw. It'll get too dusty. But I do take and I cut down the 2x12s on the table saw, and it leaves a little gap that the table saw blade won't get into. So I like 7/8. I started with a 7/8, and that's my curse. I continue with 7/8, so I cut down 2x12s with this reciprocating saw. So I did all these yesterday and the day before. There's like 40 deeps right here. And my next step is I take these templates that I made from a hive that I bought from Better Bee, and I take the best side goes in and the rough side goes out, and then I take and I set this on there and I draw it out. Very simple. And then right now it's too cold to run a table saw out in a garage, so when I get these done, they're going to set until it warms up. Then I take the table saw and I cut out all these, and then I take, after these are glued and screwed, I take and I chisel out the handles. That's what I did the other day with those ones in the garage. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing today with the hives. Yesterday morning I got up early. It was approximately 12 degrees outside, and I went out before 6 o'clock and I checked my colonies outside, and I made notes of the ones outside that had issues. And I took care of 59 yesterday, but I didn't get time to do the others. So this here is 63. And you got to be careful during the winter. If you have 2 honey supers on top, you know it's going to be top heavy, because if you don't realize that when you're lifting a hive, moving around, it could bounce off and the strap could break. And then during the winter, you just can't gather up the bees and put them back in the hive and hope they'd be okay. That you'd lose the colony. So I determined this colony here with my hive tool, and by opening this up and looking in here, there were no bees down below, and I see bees up here. And see, I plugged the holes with rags so they can't get out while I'm moving them around. So anyway, I determined by using my hive tool, I saw bees here. So I didn't want to slide in underlayment there, but there are too many bees. It would kill too many bees. So I decided to plug up the holes, load it on the tractor, and it is cold out right now. My fingers are freezing. So I'm going to bring this in with a hand truck, and then I'm going to open it and show you just what you guys aren't seeing during the winter because you're wrapping your hives, okay? Okay, I brought the hive inside. During the winter, I always leave room here for my hive inspections during the winter to be able to bring in the hive. I hand truck it in, like I said, and then I get everything out of the way because there's going to be bees all over the floor right here. I get the stuff out of the way, and during the winter, I open this for air ventilation because the bees actually heat this room. They put out too much heat. But right now, I don't want bees to come up in here, and it'd just be harder to clean up. So I'm going to close this temporarily while I'm opening this hive. So let me show you. And you want to do this real quick because you want them to still be chilled. You don't want them to be flying around right away because when you move them around, they get a little excited. But if they're still chilled and they're clustered, you can see I set that right there. And then I take this super here. Can't do it while I'm holding this camera phone, but anyway, I take the super off and I set that right on the cover, and then I figure out where the bees are, and then I'm probably going to take a deep away from this one and a honey super, and I'm going to clean it out, get all the dead bees out, and if I feel like looking for a queen, I can look for a queen, but in about a week, 10 days from now, I'm going to give them pollen patty, and all the colonies that really consume the pollen patty, I know they have a queen, but if they're not consuming pollen patty, that's when I start doing inspections looking for a queen. But right now I'm just going to downsize this hive. And if I determine they're too small to be outside when it's near zero, they will be inside here with the rest of these colonies. These colonies here, most of them I bred during the summer of 2020, and they didn't get large enough. It's not that I'm having trouble with my bees dying. It's just I breed queens all summer long, and the colonies don't get large enough. They end up coming inside during the winter, so I don't lose them. But then I'll get them restarted here in 2021, and they'll be just as large as the rest of your colonies that were outside during the winter. So, okay, that's basically what I do. Okay, thank you.